Yeah, you know enough about me already.
All right, I started the recording. It is 3 o'clock. Drew, it's all yours.
Okay, great. I'm going to bring up some slides and um, just talk about a little bit about what makes me happy. So let me present that. So first of all, this has really been great. So thanks for everybody that's presented, because I feel like I've gotten to know everybody a lot better. Can you see the slides okay? Just make sure. Okay. So a little bit about me. I think, as Alex has mentioned on a couple calls, I got married last year, and so this is my wife Rachel and my daughter Emma and our sons Luke and Jack, kind of moving left to right. And so obviously, very similar to others and the themes you've seen. Family obviously makes me really happy and is a big part of my life. And you kind of see that theme throughout. Things I'll talk about today. This was at our wedding in Lake Havasu. Rachel's from Arizona. So this is my family. This is my dad right here in the middle. He actually is a Presbyterian minister. So he actually married us, which was really great. This is my family. This is what we like to joke is this is the Protestant side of the family. This is the Catholic. So no birth control over here. No birth control over here. So she obviously has a much bigger family than mine, but it was great to have everybody there. Just a little bit about my background. I think most of you know I originally grew up on the East Coast. Moved out to California when I was working for Sage in 2012. So a lot of I think the things that I'm really involved in now are really happy is since I've moved out there. But just this is the house I grew up in on the East Coast. So it's excuse the old picture, but it was a really cool place. I've got a lot of fond memories about growing up there. It was pre-Civil War. It was a hospital during the Civil War, so a lot of good memories. And just so people could see that, yes, I was tortured by my parents as a child. You can see this picture here. And so this was I grew up in an area where there's a lot of old homes, and we had a thing called Heritage Weekend, and people could, all these tourists and people would come into the town I grew up in, a town called Moorfield, and they would take tours of all the old homes. So my parents made us dress up in this colonial garb and give tours of our home for like a year or two. So this was definitely damaging on my self-esteem as my friends would come over and see us, because we had a big picture of this in our house. This is what the house looks like now. So you can see that like a lot of the trees that were there died, unfortunately, over the years from Dutch elm disease. So I took this picture. I was driving through that area a couple years ago and took a picture of the house. I don't know who lives there now, but the landscape's changed quite a bit there. So I mentioned I moved to California. For those of you who don't know, Orange County is where I live. That's pretty much directly between Los Angeles and San Diego. And it's been really great kind of moving out here and exploring a different side of the country and things to do, because there's always things to do. I wear shorts 365 days of the year, which is, really does make me happy to be in that environment. We moved recently, or about 3 years ago, to this little town here, Dana Point. What I really love about that, this is where my house is that we can ride our bikes everywhere and we go to the beach all the time. Dana Point's really a boating community, but there's a lot of outdoor activities that we do. This is our house, but that we bought a couple years ago. But what I love about it is, there's still things to do, still projects for me. I wouldn't say that I'm that great, but I'm pretty handy with certain things. So I built this coffee and wine bar in the house. So, I can do something with my hands. I'm not completely useless around the house, although Rachel might tell you differently. But so we really enjoy, or I enjoy things that I can, get my hands dirty a little bit and feel like I'm contributing. So, but this is, so when I originally moved out here, I moved to Laguna Beach. And if you've ever been out here, it's, I think one of the most beautiful places in the country. It's got, where you can play basketball, and you've got the water right there. But, I really do enjoy the outdoors. I'm not a surfer, but I have got into paddleboarding, which has been a lot of fun to get out. And then, as I mentioned, Dana Point's got a different landscape. It's a lot because of the marina. It's got a lot of boats. I've been fortunate enough to have some friends that have some. It's always good to have friends that have boats, right? But you can see here that I took this picture the other day. This is what the beach looks like. There's still a ton of surfers down there, but this is what the beach looks like during the COVID crisis. So it's pretty empty right now. They haven't been allowing, obviously, as many people to get on the beaches, which has, been good. But one of the things this area is famous for, and we love to take guests when they're out here, is Dana Point has really the dolphins and the whales. You can see the whale migrations, the blue and gray whales migrating. So I thought I would just play this. Hopefully you can hear it, but it's more important to see it. But we'll take the people out on the boats with us all the time, and you can see a lot of the different the whales and the dolphins are usually playing together. And this happens a couple times a year, but you can really right down in the marina, get boats out all the time. And just really, that's a big change for me after having grown up on the East Coast to be able to see this all the time. So, but it's a really, if you're ever out in Orange County, you come out to Disneyland or whatever, I highly recommend you come down and do the whale tours as well. Cause they're, you're usually only going about, not even sometimes a half a mile out to see that. So it's pretty cool. So one of the things I've really enjoyed, travel is a key theme for me. I mean, I love to travel, and it's been cool to kind of move out to the West Coast and explore some of the areas that I'd never been to, or maybe on business travel, but obviously we all know it's different between business and personal. First year I moved out here, my daughter and I drove up the Pacific Coast Highway, and we, did like Hearst Castle and San Francisco, and which I'd been to a number of times, but again, different when you're there as a tourist. And then even some of the areas in Arizona. This is Joshua Tree, which is out going out towards like Palm Springs, about an hour and a half east of here. Just a really cool, different area. Obviously out in the desert, so different landscape for me. And this was actually, for those of you that watch Pretty Woman, this is Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills. I just took this Saturday. We decided to get in the car and get the hell out of the house for a while, and drove up to LA just to ride around and look at houses and do whatever. This is normally packed with people. So it's kind of like a street you would see in New York usually, because it's very touristy, and it is just empty. I'm usually, if I was going to drive to LA, it might take me sometimes 2.5 hours, and it's only 50 miles. It took me 45 minutes on Saturday. So it tells you some of the traffic's died down around here quite a bit. Again, I love, to do some of the outdoor activities. One of the cool things about the town we live in, they put on a turkey trot every year. I've run 10K a couple years. It's always I hate running, but I like to eat. So that's my justification to go, splurge on Thanksgiving meals, is to go run the turkey trot. So, and we've done some Tough Mudders and mud races, which is always fun. And you can do them year round, which is great. So another thing that really makes me happy, I love music, and I love to go to concerts. And since I've been living out here, it just feels like there's a lot more access. This is a picture of the Hollywood Bowl. I don't even remember who we saw there. I went with some college buddies just recently to see the Stones, which was awesome because I'd never seen them in all the years. And then at the beach right down by our house every year. So Eddie Vedder, over the last couple of years, has been putting on this concert called the Ohana Fest, and I know Pearl Jam just put out a new album, so they're headlining this year. That's supposed to be in September. We'll see. We have tickets, but we'll see if it happens. So, but that's pretty cool because we can just get on our bikes and ride down, spend the day at the beach, and you get to see some cool lineups from a concert standpoint. And I even travel sometimes. Anytime I go to a new city and see some music, like this picture in New Orleans, because I love a lot of different types of music. So that's always something that really I enjoy. Another thing that, I think a lot of people, it seems like on these calls, have shown is their dogs. And I've got one underneath me here and one right behind me. right now, and they're always, around somewhere at my feet or whatever. But they keep me busy and, get me out of the house, which is great. This is obviously a much younger picture of them. They're a lot grayer, like we all are as we get older. About to be 12 next month. So, but they're still chugging along. This black one is Oxford, and this is Traveler, the brown chocolate lab, and they're brothers. So I mentioned travel. This is some of the stuff that since I've moved out here, I mean, we've gone to Alaska and Mexico, and this is actually a picture in Hawaii, which you wouldn't expect to see somebody in hats and coats, but we had taken a drive up to it's one of the few places on the Big Island you can go from sea level to up over 14,000 feet in less than 2 hours. Really cool experience. And then, some of the, we did this hike in Alaska, and you can see the crab leg there. So, travel is something I really enjoy in the US, but really my, what I love about travel is really actually international travel. So, I've had the great experience to go to South America, all over Europe. Had a job when I left Sage that I traveled a lot internationally, and really gave me, I'd been a couple times on my own to Europe, but this one took me all over Europe, and it really kind of just broadened my horizons to a lot of the different cultures and things. And so I really, it's one of the things that I really miss right now is being able to, just even if it's some weekend or day trips. I mean, actually, when the COVID crisis first hit, I was supposed to be go to Scotland for a weekend. So, unfortunately, we had to put those plans on hold. And obviously, whenever I'm somewhere, I love to eat. So, that's a big part of it as well, is trying new foods and things like that. So this is the Duomo in Milan. I think this is Zurich. And this is some pictures from Rio when I was down there a couple years ago. And then a couple years back, Rachel and I took a trip. I mean, we've done the Christmas markets in Austria and Germany, which is, I highly recommend if you've never been there for that at that time of year. Pretty awesome experience. And then, been to France, and this is, I think, this is Amsterdam. And this was last year. I mean, thank God we got married last year, because our honeymoon, we went to like 7 different countries. We were started in Italy and went to Croatia and France and ended in Barcelona. But, I think about the timing, we would have been on hold that a lot of people are right now. So, we got really lucky that we got that trip in last year versus this year. And then, one of the other things that I've been kind of doing during this time is, obviously Macbeth and the name, that's always been a big part of my my family and history and heritage. And so I've been kind of taking more of this time to research some of the family. I've never known as much, even though I probably know more cousins and things like that on my mom's side of the family. I just didn't know about it going back through some of the ancestry. And so I've done some more research on some of the folks that, may be distant cousins. And actually through 23andMe just recently, I had like it's like a 6th cousin or something reach out to me, and she was telling me all this work she had done and research on the family. And so we've gotten connected that way. So that's been really cool to learn about, some different parts of the family. About, I think it was 2 years ago, my dad, who's here on the left, my sister and her kids, and my daughter Emma, we were all in Scotland together at the same time, which is really cool, because I had been there with my dad before, but my sister hadn't. So we all got to go with our kids to the town that my great grandparents grew up in. They immigrated over at the turn of the century from Scotland. So we got to be there all together, which was really cool. This is a picture of Edinburgh Castle. And, inside the castle, you can see they've got King Macbeth there. So that's always, again, the thing that's always drawn us to that side of the family is just some of the history, and we can trace some of the lineage. Unfortunately, there's no royalty coming out of it for me, or no spoils of the royalty. And you'll see that, we've got our Macbeth tartan. This is a picture of, my dad when he performed our wedding. And again, I mentioned that he's a Presbyterian minister, and I'll leave you with this. So one of the things that he's always been involved in is really being of service to others, and really kind of instilled that in my sister and I. And so one of the things that I've been trying to do with my daughter is like, what are ways you can give back during this time? What are things that you could be thinking about doing? So with her, we've been kind of, and I've got one of these shirts on now. We've kind of been, I've been helping her learn about e-commerce and getting some shirts out. This one I've got. They're all in Celtic. They're written in Celtic, but it says there's no strength without unity. And then, so this is Irish, the Irish and the English translation. This is in Scottish Gaelic. So they're all part of the Celtic language. So, and she's putting these online and selling them. And then, all the proceeds are going to like Feeding America. So, one of the things that, again, like I've been thinking about, I feel really grateful that, we work for a company like Net at Work. We get the opportunity to still work every day. A lot of people aren't as fortunate. And so I would just challenge everybody, on the phone today to think about, what are the ways you can give back? You probably already are in many ways, but, if you're looking for ideas, one of the things I would throw out to you that was really cool that I thought that a lot of celebrities launched was this all-in challenge. And this is a sweepstakes. So I actually went out and bid on a couple of these, but they've got some really cool ones. The opportunity to play golf with like Bill Murray, or Mark Cuban will sign you to a day contract to play with the Mavericks. I know we have a lot of sports fans. So this is a really cool thing that they're doing to raise money for Feeding America and No Kid Hungry. So again, I feel really blessed that, I'm in a position where, we can give back a little bit. So, hopefully you can find your own way to do that as well. But that's really made me happy and feel good about, trying to help those that are less fortunate. So I went a little bit over, but I appreciate the time. That's all I have. Thanks so much. Hopefully you guys have a great rest of the day.
Thanks, Drew.
Thanks,
Okay.
Drew.
Yeah. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Drew.
Drew. Take
Thanks,
care.
Drew.
All right. Adam,
Thanks so much, Drew.
I seen him.
Yeah, I was on mute.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Drew.
That's all right. Okay. Take care,
We're all
everybody.
about the all-in
Bye now.
challenge.
Thanks.
Yeah. Go sign up for it.